Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the OOPS concepts. So basically, what is OOPS? OOPS is nothing. It is object oriented programming system. So basically, why it is called object oriented programming system? Because in this we structure the softwares surrounding the objects. Means we create the objects, then we create the software using those objects, and each object is having its own attributes, its own functions. So using those objects we create the softwares. So basically, OOPS has several concepts are there, but four are the strong pillars of the OOPS. Those are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So we will discuss each concept one by one. So let's start with the abstraction. So abstraction is, it is a process of hiding implementation details and exposing only the functionality to the user. In abstraction, the user is only aware of how, means what function is going on. User or we people don't means have interest, don't have knowledge of how things are going on. If I explain you with the real world example, let's take an example of abstraction. Is, suppose a driver is there, driver, maybe car driver, maybe truck driver, or maybe anyone. So he applies brake. So he starts the vehicle, he stops the vehicle, he applies the brake, he accelerate the speed. So he uses all the functions of vehicle, irrespective of how those functions are actually implementing. Means inner functionality of these functions, these brakes and accelerator, start stop button, is not aware. Means a driver is not aware of any kind of inner details, how the things are getting implemented. So this is the main concept of abstraction, that only the user know what it does rather than how it does. This is one of the very important concept of OOPS. So coming to the next, this is encapsulation. Encapsulation means it is a process of wrapping up of code and data together into a single unit. Means the data and the code both are combined together and wrapping it up into a single unit. Like we can take example of a capsule. What is a capsule? In a capsule there are several medicines mixed and wrap up, closed into a capsule. This is how encapsulation looks like. But in case of object oriented programming, how we perform encapsulation? So you people are means definitely aware of some languages like C++, Java. These all are example of object oriented languages. So in these languages we have a concept of class. Class is one of the like you can say basic concept of OOPS. So in classes, what we do, we take data and their functions, and we combine both things, data and functions, into a class. So means we have combined data and function together into a unit and call it a class. This is how we are implementing encapsulation in OOPS. Coming to next, polymorphism. It is also one of the very strong pillar of OOPS. Polymorphism, if we we can say take the word polymorphism, it is composed of two words, poly and morphism. polymorphism means many forms, means it is the ability to perform many things in many ways. Means if I relate it with the real world example, okay, let's take an example. Suppose a delivery boy is at our doorstep. So that delivery boy can be a postman, can be a food delivery boy, or can be any person who is bringing an online shopping material for us, ordered by us. So means there is a one person delivery boy, but it can perform three functions: food delivery, postman, or any online shopping delivery material. So this is one of the real world example of polymorphism, that one person in different situations can act differently. So hopefully we have a good idea of polymorphism. So coming to next, that is one of the very good concept of OOPS, inheritance. We will study this topic in detail. I am going to tell you inheritance in detail. So we will start from here. Inheritance. As if I tell you inheritance, I am telling you with a very live example. Let's take an example of a child. A child is there. That child is means a mother and father both are the parents of that child. So the qualities of that child matches with their parents or anyone in his family member, right? So we can say that that child is inheriting the qualities, the properties of his parents, either mother or father. So bilkul I map exactly it here, that inheritance is the capability of a class to derive properties and characteristics from another class. As I told you earlier, that there is a concept of class. Class contains some data members, some data functions, means a class has some features, some attributes are there in a class. So that class is having some properties, and if I want, or if we want to reuse those properties somewhere else also, so in that case there is no need to repeat our code. It is one of the very good principle of programming called as DRY, DRY, DRY. DRY. It is one of the good concept of programming principles. DRY means do not repeat your code. Means there is no need to repeat your code in a particular program again and again. If this is the case, then we apply some inbuilt concepts like inheritance into our program, so that reusability of code can be increased and repetition of code will be reduced, right? So inheritance, there are two classes. Minimum there should be two classes. To apply inheritance, minimum there should be two classes. One class is called base class, and the next class which is inherited from the base class is called the derived class. So if I am taking this example, employee is what? I am taking example of a company. A company has several employees. all are the employees. It may be programmer, it may be the HR manager, it may be the lab assistants, all are the employees of a company. So I can create a class employee for that particular company. So an employee can have several attributes like name, age, etc. So this name age need not to be repeated in programmer class, because this is already inserted, saved in employee class. So in this case, what we are doing, we are creating a programmer class, and it inherits the properties from its parent class called the employee class. Getting my point? So in this case, in this example, in this diagram, programmer and lab assistant, there are two derived classes of one base class. So what inheritance does? The capability of a class to derive properties and characteristics from another class is called inheritance, as we discussed earlier. It allows to create a new class from an existing class. What it allows us? It allows us to create new classes from the existing employee class. Derived class, in this example, derived class is programmer and lab assistant. These two are the derived classes. It inherits the features from the base class and can have additional features of its own, because as I told you earlier, that derived classes, what we are doing in derived classes, we are taking derived classes, taking some attributes, is inheriting the attributes from its parent class, plus means additionally it is also having its own attributes. Its own additional information is also added to this particular programmer class. So I am explaining, I am taking another example of inheritance. This is the base class called the animal. We are taking an animal base class. Animal can perform two operations. Animal can eat, animal can sleep, right? So this is the base class. Now we are creating another derived class from this base class named as dog. Dog class is created here. This is the derived class. It means it inherits these two functions. It inherits these two functions. A dog can also eat, dog can also sleep, and dog has additional functionality is there. Named as bark. So how we represent it using a diagram? This is the diagram. How we represent it using a code. So here I am taking example of or you can say implementing this inheritance in C++ language. So in C++, syntax of this particular inheritance is class. This is a keyword. This is the name of derived class. This is a mode of inheritance. It can be private, public, or protected, right? And this is the name of base class. So we will discuss this mode of inheritance in detail in coming slides. So we are looking here the syntax of means how we inherit a class from a base class. Class, derived class name, mode of inheritance. This is a colon operator is there. This is the name of base class. So coming to this part, class animal. Animal is the parent class. Base class, parent class, super class. These all are the synonym. We can use base class, parent class or super class. Meaning is same. So I am taking here class animal. Two functions are declared here. Eat function, sleep function. Semicolon is must here in C++. Okay. Now this is the dog new class, derived class name. Okay, dog dot operator. Public is the mode of inheritance. Animal, this is the base class name. So what we are doing here, we are creating a derived class using the parent class, base class. So class dog dot colon operator, public, animal. The new functionality is added here called as park. So this is how we are writing inheritance in C++ language. We are implementing here using some codes and constructs. Okay. So what are the uses of inheritance? As we are discussing inheritance, we have seen so much about the inheritance. So what is the use of inheritance? So inheritance, as we have discussed in earlier slides, that it allows reusability of the code. Because how? Because a code is written in the parent class or base class is used in the derived class. So in this way, the code is written only once. It is implemented in n number of places wherever we want. We can inherit a base class in n number of times as per our requirement. So in this case, in this way, reusability of code is provided by the inheritance. Reusability of code is provided by the inheritance. As reusability is increased, so code is number of times we require to write a code. This effort reduces automatically. Both are proportional to each other. If reusability increases, coding effort will decreases. Both are inversely proportional to each other. Inheritance also helps in organization of code. How it helps in organization? See, if we are following inheritance in our code, then the parent class, child class, sub-child class all are related with each other, and in this way program can be understood, organized in a very structured manner. It also improves the readability and the maintainability of the code. Obviously, if we want to update our program or code, so and we are using the concept of inheritance, then only we require to make updations at single place. At a single place we require to update our data. There is no need to update data at number of places, because we are simply reusing that code, that parent class code, which is inherited by several other derived classes. So readability and maintainability both is improved here. It is the basic foundation of the polymorphism. Obviously, it also supports polymorphism. How we can say it is a foundation? Because it allows objects of different classes to respond to the same method calls in different ways. We will see in the coming slides that how this is supported by the inheritance. In case of multiple inheritance, this concept is supported. It increases the program flexibility and the extension. Obviously, if we want to extend our program as per the need arises, we want to extend our program, then extension of program becomes less complex. It becomes more simple because only every code is very much organized in a very good manner, and the organization of data is very managed. So only we need to perform these changes in some classes, or we want to call some classes, we call a class, the data is automatically coming along with the class. So in this way we can say extension of program becomes simple. So yes, how what are the modes of inheritance? Modes means there are basically three modes of inheritance. Access modes, we have three kinds of access modes. Access modes means how we can access the derived class. Derived class को हम कैसे access करेंगे? This is called the access modes. Three kinds of modes are there: public inheritance, protected, and private. We will discuss one by one. In public inheritance, when we inherit base class publicly when we inherited, in that case the class having some private members, protected members, and public members. The private members will not be inherited because these members are not inheritable. Only protected members and public members will be inherited to the derived class, right? Next is if we access derived class is inherited in protected inheritance way. In that case, as we know, private members will not be inherited, only protected members and public members will be inherited. But in protected inheritance, public members will become private. In private inheritance, private members will not be inherited to derived class, protected members will be inherited, public members will be inherited, but they become private in the derived class and they are not allowed to further inherited by further child classes. These are the types of inheritance: single inheritance, multi-level, multiple, hierarchical, and hybrid. We basically have only 5 types of inheritances. We will look them. Single inheritance, as you see this diagram, this is a vehicle class, car class. Class vehicle is a base class. Class car is a derived class. In single inheritance, a class is allowed to inherit from only one class, that is one base class is inherited by only one derived class. This is the simplest example of the type of the inheritance. Multiple inheritance, we have 2 base classes, and these 2 base classes, the derived class is only one. These 2 base classes are inherited by this one derived class. This is the example of multiple inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, a vehicle class is there. This is, you can say that we can say this is single inheritance, right? This is another single inheritance, right? So in this, what is happening here? A base class is there. This base class, one derived class is there. one derived class is inheriting the properties of base class, and that derived class another become the base class for next derived class. We can say in this way ki this is one of the derived class, car class. Car class is inheriting the properties of four-wheeler class. Four-wheeler is inheriting the properties of vehicle class. This is the main concept of the multi-level inheritance. Hybrid inheritance. Hybrid, as its name indicates, this is the combination. This is the combination of more than one type of inheritance. Vehicle class is there. This vehicle class. This is what? This is the hierarchical and this is what? This is the multiple. So we can say it is a combination of hierarchical and multiple inheritance. This is the hybrid inheritance. Multi-path inheritance. It is one of the special case of hybrid inheritance. So what is happening here? What is happening here? A class A is there, class B is there. So this class C has some function of, here it is function. This is another function FUNC. The function names are same in both the classes. And if class C is inheriting both the classes, so it means this FUNC is here of class A, this FUNC is here for class B. This is next another this becomes the base class for the next derived classes. In this case, when this should be D and this should be E, make correction here. This should be D, this should be E. This D class want to access FUNC. Then in this case, a problem is occurring that is called the ambiguity problem. Ambiguity problem will be there, that this class D enables to understand that which function to call, class A function or class B function. This is a multipath inheritance. So this all we covered inheritance. Thank you please.